Hi there, welcome to this week's vlog. And you find us in sunny Devon. We're on holiday. Sue and myself with my sister Jenny and her husband Dave. We're having a great week. The weather has been so kind to us. Lots of sunshine with some rain, but that's fine. And we've visited some lovely places, had one or two nice meals and some cream teas. You have to have that when you're in Devon, don't you? Even though we put our cream teas the Cornish way with the jam first and then the cream. But sorry if you're from Devon. Anyway, let's get down to what I want to talk to you about this week. And two different things have come together in my mind and seem to be intimately connected. In my morning Bible study recently, I've been looking at St. Paul's second letter to the church at Corinth. And one particular passage stood out recently, a few days ago, and it linked in with something else that I heard on the radio. This is the passage from Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verses 3 and 4. Paul says this: "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion, the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." So God, says Paul, is a God of comfort, a God of compassion. When we're in trouble, when we're going through tough times, God is alongside us. He comforts us. He shows us love and compassion. And one of the outcomes of that should be that we are able to show love and compassion to others who may be going through tough times themselves with that compassion and love that we've received from God. So there's one thought just to bring to your attention, and that really was brought back to me when I was listening on, as we were driving down to Devon, I think it was. We listened to on the radio, car radio, to UCB2. United Christian Broadcasters have two radio stations, UCB1 and UCB2, and we were listening to an interview by Matt Brown. He was chatting with a lady called Sarah C. Williams, and she was telling the, in a sense, a tragic story. Her and her husband, both followers of Jesus, who love God, and two girls who they loved, and Sarah was pregnant with their third child, and they were really looking forward to welcoming their third child into the family. They longed for this third child, and now the third child was on the way. But when Sarah was, I think, about 20 weeks pregnant, she had a scan or some sort of test at the hospital, and she was told the devastating news that this child that she was bearing had a condition that meant that even if the child went to full term and was born in the normal way, she wouldn't live very long at all. It was certain that she would die. And Sarah and her husband obviously were devastated by that news, and they were advised by the medical people to consider seriously a termination. But though they wrestled, I guess, with that question, they felt it wasn't right for them as Christians to do that. And more than that, as they prayed, as they brought the issue urgently before God, Sarah said she felt God saying to her, "I want you to love and nurture and care for this child over the next weeks." In other words, as the child continued to grow in Sarah's womb, they were to still pour out love upon that child as the child grew and developed, even though, humanly speaking, it was only going to end in one way. When the child was born, it wouldn't live very long. And though that was a tough message, they felt that God spoke to them, it was nevertheless one that they embraced, and they took it on. They loved their child. They thought to pray for their child, and through that experience, and then after the child was born, another girl who they loved and welcomed into their family, she soon died. I'm not quite sure how long the little girl lived, but Sarah's testimony about that whole experience is remarkable. I guess many Christians, or some Christians, would have been really, maybe even lost their faith. How can God allow this to happen? But for Sarah and her husband, it wasn't like that. Yes, they struggled. Yes, it was a tragedy in many ways. But what Sarah said to Matt Brown on the radio was that the whole experience gave her a far greater understanding of and compassion for those who are disregarded in society, those who are looked down upon, those who are held as being of no regard, not worth. You know, as far as the doctors, the medical people are concerned, just terminate your baby. It's not going to live. It's not worth anything. Just have an abortion. But Sarah and her husband didn't embrace that. Instead, they loved their child. And Sarah says, I've got now a far greater compassion for those in our society. You know, wherever we look, I don't know, the disabled, the drug addict, or whatever it may be. Far greater compassion for those whom some in society look down upon, cast aside as of no value. And so out of tragedy came a remarkable transformation in Sarah and her husband's understanding of God's way of seeing people, all people. And she wrote a book about that, which I've ordered. I haven't got it yet, but it's written by Sarah C. Williams, and it's called Perfectly Human, 9 Months with Cerian. That's Cerian. That's the name they gave to their daughter, and I'm looking forward to reading that. But as I was listening to that testimony from Sarah, it just came back to me, that passage of St. Paul where he says, in our tragedies, in our troubles, in our dark times, when we sense that compassion that God pours out upon us, that love that God pours out upon us, though he may not deliver us from those circumstances, let's remember that. And when we meet people who themselves are going through tragedy or the dark times, the tough times, let's pour out God's compassion upon them and show real love and care. And remember that all people are highly valued in God's eyes. Let's try and see people as God sees them. Anyway, that's thought for the day or for the week. And thank you, as always, so much for joining me today. God bless you.